homers yesterday in 5 innings, and then a walk-off win against Tennessee to get off to a good start, as they'll see Northwestern here today and Wisconsin later on as well. So the top of this Northwestern lineup, plenty of speed, plenty of power. Rachel Lewis in the number 2 spot with a couple of home runs. Maeve Nelson with 2 long balls as well. So Skylar Shellmeyer to start things off. And it's quickly 2-0 with the freshman Brooke McCubbin in the circle for Clemson. So Northwestern checking in 6-1, their lone loss on the year came 8 days ago against Virginia Tech, a 3-2 defeat at the hands of the Hokies. And here in Clearwater, that win against UCLA. And they put 9 runs up against Texas Tech as they started the offensive onslaught early with 6 runs in the first 3 innings. And it's Shellmeyer setting things up as she strokes a single into center field.
Yeah, the freshman Brooke McCubbin in the circle today is going to have a tough challenge going against this Northwestern lineup that is very mature, very talented, but she's got a tough task. But she's going to throw in the mid-60s. She's able to go up, down. She's got a curveball, changeup, going to spin it up a little bit. She's got to be able to hit her spots, though, hitting the corners, making sure she doesn't leave too much over the wide of the plate. And that's going to be one of the biggest learning curves that every freshman faces, but specifically for her, a big key focus is making sure to not leave the ball over the heart of the plate, something that the opposing hitters can crush.
Lewis into shallow center field. Clark is in, and she puts it away to retire Lewis. Top of this lineup is very speedy with Shellmeyer on at first. Lewis behind her. They've combined to steal 11 bases in 12 tries, so don't be surprised if you see them off and running. Now as the catcher Jordan Rudd steps in with 1 out.
Yeah, and we talked a little bit about it. This is a veteran lineup for Northwestern, and saw yesterday in their game against UCLA is how quality their at-bats were. They really had a patient approach at the plate. Really good takes on Megan Faremo. They battled with 2 strikes, and that's what led them to being able to walk it off against the Bruins yesterday. So that's something that McCubbin's got to be aware of. This is a disciplined team, so she's got to really make sure she's working her spins and locations because they're going to be patient at the plate.
McCubbin, a former Gatorade Player of the Year in the state of Georgia. 8 innings under her belt this year. And it was a very busy day yesterday for Valerie Cagle, as she's thrown 20 innings on the year and threw 14 yesterday. So 3-1 to Rudd. First team all Big Ten last year, and she takes up and in ball 4. 2 on with 1 out. And the game-winning hitter yesterday, Maeve Nelson, coming up.
Yeah, you talked about Valerie Cagle a little bit, who's without a doubt the ace of this Clemson pitching staff, but I think it's going to be really important for somebody like a McCubbin to pitch some quality innings against a good opponent like this, because they're going to need her down the stretch. With the amount of innings that Cagle pitched last season, comparatively to the rest of the staff, there was a huge discrepancy, and they're definitely going to need some help to keep her healthy. Valerie Cagle, only a sophomore. She's got a long way to go in her career. So if somebody else can take some innings off of that arm and give her a little bit of rest when she needs it, that could go a long way.
Cagle, a phenomenal 2-way player. She rests pitching-wise. She's still in the lineup as their DP today. But both of these teams picked second in their respective leagues. Clemson in the ACC preseason poll picked second behind Florida State, the seemingly perennial choice atop the ACC. And Northwestern second in the Big Ten, behind Michigan. That 0-2 is scorched foul down the third base line.
There's going to be a good battle in both of those conferences. Talk about the Big Ten battling Michigan. I think Northwestern has the opportunity to try and go get themselves a championship. And on the other hand, I mean, the ACC, you talk about the rise of that conference with Duke, with Florida State, with Virginia Tech, and Clemson. It's going to be a really tough battle for that regular season championship.
It'll be very fun to watch. Last year, Northwestern third in the Big Ten as they were behind Michigan and Minnesota. Those were the only NCAA tournament teams coming out of the conference as they played a conference-only schedule to help rectify some of the uncertainty in 2021. Good thing for them is that they bring a lot of experience back. They lose Morgan Newport, Emma Bartz, Mac Dunlap, who was a starter at third base as well. But that's one of the enjoyable parts of having eligibility get extended, is that players who are standouts do have the opportunity to come back. You look at Rachel Lewis, last year at second base, this year moving to center field, and the ability to go for one more ride and give it all you got for one more season. Nelson gets one she likes. The throw to third is not in time. More to Lagaleo at third, trying to get Shellmeyer scampering across the base paths. She's simply too fast, and the bases are loaded for Northwestern in the first.
Yeah, Shellmeyer can fly over there. Really, really nice jump. And a good effort there by Maddie Moore to be able to get this play and a nice backhand on it, but just too much speed from Northwestern. And now all of a sudden you got bases loaded and only one out here in the first. Things are rolling for the Wildcats.
Zedak takes inside 1-0. She went to high school just about 30 miles away from the Northwestern campus, located north of Chicago. And it's now 2-0 here for what the coaching staff says from Zedak. Off her bat is the highest exit velocity of anybody on the team. A dangerous hitter with the bases full.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because it's so interesting to hear for the Northwestern coaches. Some players are the strongest players, some players have quick hands, and she's got the highest exit velocity. So what makes the ball just jump off of her bat? And that's the beauty of the diversity of swings on a team, is that you can have somebody that just has a rocket that shoots off the bat right away, feels really good, and then you have somebody that can hit a moonshot, 10 miles outside of the park.
Got just a little bit under that one on a 3-1 where McCubbin needed a strike. So she swerves around Zedak in the number 5 spot in the lineup. She's retired Lewis and Zedak. And a conference here with the bases remaining loaded. Nikki Cochran coming up.
Yeah, and that's a nice recovery right there by McCubbin to get an easy out for her defense. Give her a little bit of confidence and say, you know what, I can get this offense out, especially against a tough hitter like Zedak. And this is a good opportunity just to settle in, go talk to your freshman, give her a little bit of a scouting report, game plan, now that she's thrown a few pitches under her belt and starting to feel a little bit more comfortable in the circle.
The pitching coach there, Kyle Jamieson, former head coach at Furman, where he was the SoCon Coach of the Year in 2017. So trouble brewing for Clemson. Can Northwestern take advantage? Cochran out to short, and the inning is over. A single, a walk, a fielder's choice. The bases left loaded, full of purple and white. It's Clemson's turn in the bottom of the first.
St. Pete Clearwater Elite Invitational, presented by Wilson, is brought to you by Visit St. Pete Clearwater, Florida, and Wilson Fast Pitch, leaders in softball innovation.
Back at it in Clearwater after Northwestern loaded the bases. They were unable to score in the top of the first, so the Clemson Tigers come to the plate and see what they can do up against not only one of the best pitchers in the country, one of the best in the Big Ten with Daniel Williams in the circle. This is a lineup hitting .299 so far as they come into this game. It's been top heavy though, with a couple players over 300, some under 200, and Valerie Cagle continues to be a phenomenal player both ways with 2 home runs. She's driven in 9 thus far, and Mackenzie Clark, one of the best in the ACC a year ago, where she was first team last year, preseason All-ACC this year, leads it off for the Tigers.
Yeah, and she plays a really important role. Her and Sam Russ at the top of the lineup are the table setters for somebody like Cagle to come up in an RBI situation, and that's what makes Valerie Cagle so good, is she hits for a really high average, but she's got some pop, power, and when she's got ducks on the pond ahead of her, that's when Clemson can be really successful.
Williams ahead 1-2, induces weak contact, and retires Clark to start the bottom of the first. For Williams, former National Freshman of the Year and last year first team All-Big Ten.
Yeah, Williams is a really talented pitcher, one of the best in the country, and she's got some filthy spin. Coming from the left side, she can pretty much hit any corner of the strike zone with good movement. She can go up, down, in, out, and it's really her maturity over the last couple years and understanding the game planning and playing that chess match with the batter, where she has improved so much and why she is so good. Because everybody knows what pitches she's throwing, but it's that mental piece that puts her ahead of others.
A defensive stance there to lay that bunt down by Russ, the transfer from NC State. She's wiped off the base pass there, so 2 up and 2 down now with Cagle coming up. For Williams, you're right, the changeup, as the staff says, it's her anchor, being able to use it in different counts at different levels. But beyond that, the maturity for her to be as steady as she is exactly what you want as the centerpiece for your team's success.
Yeah, and there's that filthy changeup right there. You can see aggressive speed drop. You can see the downward spin and the deception coming out of her hand.
Valerie Cagle quickly behind 0-2. That's redirected over to second. Glove flip onto first. And it's just late from Nito to Cochran. Almost got Cagle. But the inning continues as that one bounced off of Williams.
It's a tough play. She's left-handed, tries to go for the backhand. A good effort on the flip, but just can't get it done in time to get Cagle out at first.
So it's an infield single for Cagle. And the right fielder, Marissa Gumbarda, with an opportunity for Clemson. Again, ahead in the count. Changing levels and just missing 2 and 2. Plenty of power from Gombarda, who hit 13 home runs last year. Waits it out to get the count full. Payoff, she swings over the top of it, and Williams earns the strikeout to finish off the first.
Danielle Williams goes with her bread and butter, that changeup, so filthy, pulling the string to get out number 3.
Sparks flying wherever you looked around the different fields yesterday, as Northwestern had a walk-off win in extra innings on a Maeve Nelson long ball. LSU brought the bats a multiple home run game as their offense came to play yesterday under the lights, and Clemson late taking advantage of some defensive mistakes by the Lady Vols.
It's been really interesting to watch this tournament because it has such a postseason feel. I mean, you hear the crowd, the energy, the big moments like that. And the pressure's still on these teams. And what's crazy is we still have a whole 2 days of this tournament to go.
It's our Wilson schedule update. Your games on linear networks today. UCLA and Auburn, a 3-0 lead for the Bruins. LSU up on Notre Dame. We'll see Michigan and Florida State as well. Those are 2 teams that we saw yesterday. The Wolverines and the Seminoles that looked very sharp. Great early measuring stick. As Sydney Supley led off, she had the ground out to third base. And here on the number 8 spot, it's the third baseman, Hannah Cady.
Yeah, there's been 2 teams so far that I've watched this weekend that have really stood out to me. And Washington is one of them. They've just been on an absolute tear since the season started. And Florida State looked solid. They just look like a really complete team 1 through 9. Really impressed from an offensive standpoint. And they returned their pitching staff from a year ago, who was a runner-up finish at the Women's College World Series. So just a lot to look forward to watching the Noles this season.
Cady's 2-2 was a foul ball, so the count holds. And Washington, as you said, they're off to a perfect start, 7-0. You better be ready to get in the way of the Huskies or just get out of the way, because they played 2 games yesterday and they scored 20 runs.
It's wild how well they're doing right now. And you look at the top of the lineup, Sammy Reynolds and Bailey Klingler are just seeing the ball like a beach ball. Both of them had multiple home runs yesterday. It's just unreal what they're doing at the top of the lineup for the Huskies. And not to mention, you know, you have this potent offense that's scoring a ridiculous amount of runs. And then you have Gabby Plain, who was a finalist for National Player of the Year last year, one of the best pitchers in the entire country. Just so tough to hit off of.
She only gave up 2 hits as they run-ruled Tennessee yesterday. That was an 11-0 win in 5. And then they went pitcher by committee as they beat LSU 9-4. And like you said, Reynolds, Klingler, we're going to see them at 2:30 Eastern against Texas Tech. Combined to drive in 7 in game 2 and 6 in game 1. Here's the 9th pitch of this at-bat. Check swing. Didn't go. It was a laborious first inning for McCubbin, a 23-pitch inning, 10th pitch of the at-bat. And the ball stays on the infield, 2 up and 2 down in the top of the second inning. You saw sparks yesterday from the LSU offense. They're taking on the Fighting Irish here today. Uh-oh, bases are loaded. That means trouble, and that means a grand slam for LSU as they take the lead over Notre Dame. Grace Nito, the freshman from Michigan, here with 2 out and the bases clear. One of 4 left-handed hitters in the lineup, just gets the top of the ball and encroached from third by Lagaleo, but Nito beats it out. And she's got an infield single, denying McCubbin a 1-2-3 inning, and getting back to the real dangerous part of the lineup at the top with Skylar Shellmeyer coming up.
And these are those times where a mishit will work for you. She's way out in front, gets a little spinner off the end of her bat, and because of the speed of Nito, she's able to reach base pretty easily down the first base line. And now you have even more speed up at the plate.
Skylar Shellmeyer is the type of player who, according to head coach Kate Drohan, is the one who helps keep them all loose. You love a teammate like this because it's not only when she does something good that she's going to celebrate, but when you do something good, she'll meet you out there to celebrate too.
Yeah, she brings a ton of juice, ton of energy. She's a really skilled lefty slapper as well. I was really impressed with her watching yesterday against UCLA in that 8th inning as she battled, and she ended up getting a base hit because, you know, she hit a ball to the third baseman. The third baseman peeks the runner, and she's safe. You don't have time to peek at a runner with the wheels on Shellmeyer. You know, her job in that leadoff spot is to get on base, to pass the bat down, and she did exactly that, and did it in the first inning, set the table, and that's her whole goal, is to get those big hitters like Jordan Rudd, Maeve Nelson, up behind her.
On top of that, too, to be able to make a shift, she had been a mainstay for them in center field and moves over to right this year as Rachel Lewis goes from second to center field, which they say is more of her natural position. She's a phenomenal athlete and can cover a lot of ground in a very short amount of time. Throw to first, Liz Hammerschmidt says all clear there.
Yeah, that's always an interesting experience as a player. Is there are moments that you might need to change positions because of what the team has and where you need to be to fit best with the game plan, to be as successful as a team as you can be. And when players do that and make no fuss and learn a new position or you know, shift over, move in the outfield, that is for the betterment of the program, and you can learn a lot by changing spots.
Lagaleo stabs it at third. Shellmeyer is out at first. The speed demon wiped off the base paths.
Lagaleo, good range, cannon over to first for the out. Nice play.
When it comes to the ACC, you got to have your eyes on Florida State. The Seminoles have opened up 7-0, but Clemson, one of the new kids on the block, Valerie Cagle, a star in the league last year, and the Blue Devils won the ACC tournament crown. Keely Rochard keeping the Hokies as one of the top 4 in the ACC. with her ability to strike out anybody, anytime, anywhere. And John Rittman said when this program got started, I got a bunch of girls to commit to a pile of dirt. And here they are now as one of the top teams in the ACC.
Yeah, and we heard him on the call earlier this week. Just his passion for improving ACC softball and how important it is to recognize the growth of that conference. And he worked really hard to set a culture early at Clemson, and it's working. And I think that's going to be an interesting path for them moving forward is, you know, they were unknown last year. They surprised a lot of people. Now everybody knows Clemson is serious and is a top 25 team, and they're going to be ready to play. And so life's going to be different with a target on your back if you're the Tigers.
Pereira drops down the bunt. Foul ball. It's funny to think that you look back at last year and the Tigers were picked 6th in the ACC preseason poll. All the first place votes, understandably, they went to either Florida State or Virginia Tech. And then March of last year was the first time that they got into the NFCA top 25. And they were the last team in, number 25. But then you go fast forward to the end of the regular season, and they're the regular season champions.
Yeah, look at the movement, by the way, on that Danielle Williams pitch. So much spin. No chance for Pereira to get that one.
Second strikeout for Williams. That's the way she finished off the first against Gombarda. Starts it that way against Pereira. And the batter is Madison May. I love this note from last year. Tim Beret, the longtime sports information director at Clemson. The softball program was the quickest program of any in the history of the school to win a regular season league title. Football did it in its second year of opportunity in 1900. Keep in mind 2020, the shortened year for softball. Boxing in 1938 did it in its 4th year. And men's outdoor track did it in its 5th season of existence in 1909. So you put all the right pieces together, and you can be a disruptor in a hurry, as Clemson has proved.
Yeah, without a doubt. And John Rittman, such an experienced coach, he knew what to do. Was at the helm of Stanford for a really long time. And then, you know, when you have somebody like Valerie Cagle, that's a program-changing player, that it's a two-way player that can pitch and hit, you're going to set yourself up pretty well. That being said, I think some of the disappointments from them last year was they got a lot of games taken away from them. COVID reasons, scheduling reasons, weather, whatever it may be. So they didn't get to play as tough of a schedule as they would have liked last year, which is one of the reasons that they ended up going to Tuscaloosa for regionals, which is an extremely tough place to play. So they're working hard on scheduling deeper this season so that they can have a better resume because they want to host a regional this year.
Getting a draw like that, here's Lagaleo, is like somebody telling you that it's time for dessert, but it's carrot cake. Like you're really excited until you find out what it is. Because you just know you're walking into a dangerous territory there with that being your first round draw.
Yeah, you're probably going to one of the toughest environments, if not the toughest environment in all of college softball, and you're facing Montana Fouts, and they learned a lot from playing her. You know, and those are things that you remember as a player. You remember your experience last year, and that kind of sparks your summer to work harder, to prepare. Keeps you hungry in the fall when you're in the weight room at 6 a.m. It's because you went back to that moment. You said, I could have been better here. This is the level that I need to play to beat somebody like a Fouts, to win a regional, to advance to a super regional. So I think that there's some beauty in failure and learning. And this is a young team that probably learned a lot last year.
Well, Danielle Williams is on the verge of striking out the side. What's gotten her into a groove here?
I mean, she's so good. As we're talking, I'm sitting here watching her, just amazed with her spin and movement. And that off speed is just dangerous. And I'm also sitting here thinking through the process as a hitter, what would I sit on? Because she throws so many pitches. The diversity of her pitches is kind of crazy. She doesn't pound one half of the plate. She doesn't go to one pitch over and over and over again. She just sprinkles different locations and different pitches and different speeds constantly. And that's what makes Williams so good, is that there's a lot of pitchers that can throw multiple pitches, but they're just all not that great. You have one or two pitches that you're really good at, a couple that you can sprinkle in. Her pitches are all pretty darn good. She can throw them all with confidence and spot them up pretty much where she wants.
Lagaleo out toward left field, and Zedek has a beat on it. The inning is over. A couple of strikeouts for Williams, and a 1-2-3 second frame.
We were playing softball here in Clearwater. The amount of great matchups that we have here, unparalleled.
Coming on to make the diving catch. Wow, just really big plays. Back.
Lewis, the senior from Ohio, in her 5th season. Hit .351, 6th in the Big Ten, on her way to being a unanimous first-team All-Big Ten selection last year. Not only can she hit, but she can make you pay on the base paths if you let her aboard. And there is her first hit of the day. She set the Big Ten record last year with 28 stolen bases. She's 6 of 7 this year. In a scoreless game, be on the lookout.
Yeah, no doubt. She's got the wheels on first base. And this isn't a bad piece of hitting. She just squares it up a little bit out in front of it. Pops her barrel just a little bit too soon, but hey, good hitters find ways to get on base, and simple ground ball up the middle gets the job done. You know, and Rachel Lewis and Jordan Rudd at the plate, they're really the two leaders. They've been such staples in this lineup for so long. They're the anchors of this team. And so it's a good sign for Northwestern offense when Rachel Lewis starts the inning off with a base hit.
The bunt is down, and the sacrifice successful from Rudd, who walked her first plate appearance and puts Lewis into scoring position as the Wildcats had the bases loaded in the first. Couldn't get a run across here, but now they've got a couple of chances, starting with Maeve Nelson.
And Northwestern today is setting themselves up with opportunities. This is the 4th time they've had a runner in scoring position today.
3 scores, gentlemen. Welcome around the complex. Thank you.
But I think if you're the coaching staff for this team, you'd like to see a run or two pushed across over already with runners in scoring position. Somebody just needs to come up with that clutch hit. And it was Nelson yesterday with the big-time clutch hit against UCLA in the 8th inning. And we heard from her coach, said she can hit the oppo bomb. She has a ton of power to the opposite field. She got a pitch on the outside corner from Megan Faremo and took advantage, cashed in for the W for the Wildcats.
Down 0-2, the freshman deals. It's off of her shoes, trickling into right. Lewis around third. She comes in to score the game's first run. The ball didn't have to leave the infield as she zipped home from second.
This ball was hit really hard off of the bat of Maeve Nelson. There's nothing McCubbin could have done on that play. And it's good heads-up base running right here by Rachel Lewis. She sees it off the thigh of McCubbin. Has no hesitation. Easy run for the Wildcats.
Zedek takes up an it's proof right there that whether Nelson hits one over the fence or simply right back into the circle, it's going to be hit hard wherever it's going.
No doubt.
McCubbin got Zidak to pop out to second her first time up. Northwestern under Kate Drohan in her 21st season now. Last year made their 14th postseason trip with her as the head coach. Grounded to short, that eats up more. Everybody's safe as Nelson is in at second. Zidak aboard at first. Already a run across in the inning, potential for more for Northwestern.
This is a tough hop for Moore. Shifted up the middle to cover for the steal. This one just eats her up.
Cochran going after the first pitch, and it's unfortunate thinking about it from Clemson's perspective. A couple of balls on the ground. The ball has not left the infield, and yet a run has been put across. Another runner in scoring position. They've just been hit really hard.
No doubt. And that's the beauty of putting a charge in your swing, making sure you just squaring the ball up, really nice contact. This Northwestern team isn't trying to hit the ball out of the park every time, but they are swinging hard. They're swinging aggressive, and they're really focusing on driving their barrels to the contact point on the ball and keeping it simple.
McCubbin's 60th pitch sails up and off the glove of Vieira. Everybody takes a base. Nelson to third, Zidak to second.
And we hit on it a little bit earlier, but that was really what was impressive to me about Northwestern, was the quality of the at-bats that they had. They swung at the good pitches against Megan Faramo. I think they took some pitches that were so close to strikes, but were barely an inch off the plate, and were called balls.
Slow roller after the pass ball, that gives Northwestern a run. Whereas if they'd had runners at first and second, not the case. So they now lead 2-0 as Cochran gets Nelson across the plate.
Yeah, that's the second good productive out we've seen in this inning. First it was the sac bunt from Jordan Rudd. And that hit, it's not a good hit. It's off the end of the bat. It's ugly, but because it's a slow roller, because there's a runner on third, it scores a run.
Supley went down quickly to start off the second with a ground out to third. Her second chance at the plate, and a runner at third, 2 down. Weak contact over to second. Pereira finishes off the inning. Northwestern gets 2. Ball didn't have to leave the infield. Manufactured runs with the bottom. A full day of women's basketball tomorrow features number 23 Virginia Tech and number 3 Louisville. Coverage on ACC Network starts at 2 Eastern. NC State atop the league, but Louisville number 2, Virginia Tech number 3, and the Hokies have won 5 in a row. That matchup tomorrow, 2 Eastern on the ACC Network and available for you on the ESPN app. Along with Kayla Bro, the All-American and national champion, I'm Mike Cousins. Clemson and Northwestern, their first game of the day. As we go to the bottom of the third inning, Wildcats putting 2 on the board in the top half of the frame. See if the Tigers can answer with a couple hitters here coming up in the 8 and 9 spots, getting their first cuts of the day.
Yeah, as we're approaching the bottom of the lineup for Clemson and heading into turning the lineup over, I think the communication between batters is going to have to be really important here to really go back to the dugout. First and foremost, to see if there's anything Danielle Williams shows with the changeup. Is there any kind of body language, any kind of change in her release, anything that could help you see that pitch? Because if you can pick up something small as a hitter on that pitch and recognize it, it could be a game changer today. And then beyond that, just going up with plans, just figuring out what pitches she's throwing consistently enough that, hey, maybe we're going to sit on the outside pitch. But I can tell you right now that last one is a great example of what you can't do when you're facing Danielle Williams. She's got fantastic movement. You're in a hole 0-2 and she throws something way outside, way out of the zone, and you chase. That's way too easy of an out for her.
Maddie Moore, the shortstop. Now, when you talk about having a plan, are you going to say going into facing a pitcher like this who, as you've pointed out, throws multiple pitches at a very high level to say, all right, I'm just sitting change or I'm just sitting fastball, and that's the only thing I'm going to swing at?
Yep, until you get 2 strikes. If you want to hit that off speed and you think she's going to throw it to you often, like a Valerie Cagle, she threw it to her twice in her first at bat. So you might see it again if you're her and you're a power hitter. So that's Danielle Williams' goal, is she doesn't want you to hit it out of the park. So she's going to throw you something nice and slow. But if you can time it up and you're as strong as Valerie Cagle, man, that might be a pitch that you sit on. And then depending on if you're a slapper, if you're a speedy player, I might try and drop a drag bunt on the changeup. Yeah, and again, it depends. Righty, lefty, it's going to change your approach and what your wheelhouse is. If you hit an inside pitch better than an outside pitch, you might wait until she throws you something. And then when you get 2 strikes, then it becomes survive and advance. Shorten up, keep it simple. But man,
right now,
so
nobody
tough.
is surviving, nor are they advancing. First time through the lineup, she struck out 5 and allowed just 1 hit.
Ooh, look at the release on that. I mean, she just flips it in there. Tons of spin and rotation on this. Maddie Moore is just so far out in front. I mean, there's no chance she had to hit that. And you know it's coming. You've watched every single hitter ahead of you. You know it's possibly going to come, and you still are that fooled.
Let's graph that on a TI-83 and watch that parabolic arc as that just drops into the dirt as it crosses home plate. I suppose you have to be of a certain age to really connect with a TI-83 calculator, the graphing calculator.
Yeah, those don't really exist, I don't think, anymore for...
well, you know what?
I mean, maybe
they always told us, you have to learn how to do this math. You're not going to have a calculator in your pocket. And look at us now.
That is the truth right there.
Although sometimes I do get mad at my my phone. And I don't know if your phone does this on Sundays. You get your screen time report.
Oh.
Not good sometimes.
No,
not good.
It's not.
But it's because of all the calculating that I'm doing on my phone.
Correct.
That's why.
Yeah, it's all the math. Yeah.
It's not entertainment.
Yeah, in your profession, math all the time.
That's why I picked this job, so I didn't have to do math.
Same.
Just missed, zipping that inside on Clark. Six in a row retired by Williams. 5 of those have been strikeouts. It'll be at least 8 pitches here in go round number 2 between Clark and Williams.
Yeah, and this is where the improvement is for Clark. You can see her having a quality at bat, really fouling off some pitches, battling. That's that survive and advance mentality, doing whatever you can to get barrel on the ball. And we've just got a really quality pitcher versus hitter battle right here.
Payoff is in the dirt, ball 4. So Clark waits out Williams and earns the first walk of the day by a Tigers hitter.
And that's a miss by Danielle Williams right there on the changeup. Just too low in the dirt. It's the right spot. You want that ball low. You don't want Clark to be able to put a charge into it. So you keep it more at her shins, and that might be strike 3.
Sam Russ, the former NC State Wolfpack outfielder, joining Clemson as a graduate student. Rounded out quickly back in the first inning. Third team All-ACC last year. Extends the bat, floats it out into shallow right center over the glove of Nito. And the Tigers have runners at the corners, so the tying runs are on as Clark with a long at bat drew the walk. Russ had bat meet ball. Runners at the corners now for Valerie Cagle.
Yeah, 2 good at bats right there. Sam Russ just finds something a little bit elevated in the zone, has some speed on it, gets enough of this ball on the end of her bat to be able to find her spot on first base and advance Clark all the way to third. And now the pressure for Danielle Williams is really on because you're facing the best hitter in the Clemson lineup in Valerie Cagle, who can hit the ball out of the park and change this game really quickly.
So it's the first visit to the circle of the day for Michelle Gascoigne, the pitching coach for Northwestern, to chat things over here because the opportunity looms large for Clemson. Their first opportunity with runner in scoring position. And this is an opportunity for them to prove to their head coach as well, John Rittman, who says we don't feel like we've really clicked yet offensively, been able to show what we're capable of. And you got your best hitter in the biggest moment of the game so far. Williams to Cagle. So over at first, Russ called out for leaving early, and that's a rally killer for Clemson as the inning is over.
Yeah, just when it looked like Clemson had a chance, Sam Russ leaving a little bit early to take themselves out of the inning.
Your official source that gives their information.
We welcome you back to the 2022 St. Pete Clearwater Elite Invitational presented by Wilson. It's Northwestern and Clemson in the first game of the day. John Rittman, the head coach, joins us now. Your team coming into this game has looked pretty sharp, although offensively you said after yesterday's games you didn't feel like you're in your stride exactly just yet. What are you hoping to see here over the remainder of the weekend at the plate?
Well, first and foremost, we got to figure out Williams today. She's got the off speed going great, very tough pitcher, and you know, when you start playing in these tournaments and you start accumulating at bats relatively quick in a weekend, it's tough to go from one pitcher to another. And I think we're struggling a little bit today, but hopefully we can get some things started. Almost had it going this last inning, so just got to keep them off the board now.
And Coach, you started a freshman in Brooke McCubbin today. What are you looking to see from this outing versus a top 25 opponent from her today?
Well, the biggest thing is she's competing so well, you know, and I think a couple of bad breaks, you know, some balls that haven't left the infield that she's gotten hurt with. But I think she's held her composure really well in some tough innings and got us out of some jams. And, you know, the biggest thing is for Brooke is just to get some experience and you know, pitch the way she's capable here early in the season.
John, we appreciate your time. Thanks.
All right, thank you.
The experience factor is key because we talked about it earlier that certainly Cagle is going to pitch a predominant number of innings, but you got to have somebody who can help you out in the latter portions of weekend series when you get into conference play, and then ultimately you hope postseason as well. So now we go to the fourth. After an opportunity gone by the wayside there, both teams have had that today. That was the first runners in scoring position last inning for the Tigers. Northwestern, with 2 on the board, did leave the bases full in the first inning against the freshman pitcher. And Hannah Katie, the third baseman, leading it off 0 for 1.
Yeah, a really unfortunate situation for Clemson. You know, it looked like they had a big-time opportunity, their best players coming up to bat, and unfortunately they run themselves out of an inning, and that's just something that you can't do.
Pereira flips over to first, and Katie is out number 1.
And you know, there's a lot of questions in this situation. You know, why do you have a runner steal in that situation? But that's a no-brainer. Sam Russ has wheels, and you're going to see she barely leaves early here. It's actually a lot closer than it maybe looks right off the jump. But you know, she leaves a hair too early, gets them out of an inning. But you don't need to leave early on that. She's so fast. You know, Coach John Rittman said that his catchers can't even throw her out at practice. She's that quick. So you don't need to leave early in that situation. Leave on time. They're most likely not going to throw down. Then you put 2 runners in scoring position for Cagle. But instead, you just take the bat out of her hands, and that's just honestly a killer.
Nothing in 1 here to Nito, who reached on an infield single. The sun makes an appearance, peeking through the clouds. Game time temperature started in the 60s. You know, it's only a matter of time before the blue starts to show through in the sky. Another opportunity, just 1 hop for Pereira. So I appreciate the explanation on that stolen base breakdown there, Kayla, because I think from conventional wisdom, you look at it and say, okay, well, yeah, why not leave that opportunity for your best hitter at the plate? Also, though, understanding that it seems like this is a game where, especially given who's in the circle with Danielle Williams, you want to try and maximize any opportunities, and a base hit with runners at second and third is a lot likelier to tie the game than it is with runners at the corners.
Yeah, you talk about maximizing opportunities is so important, but you also have to be really smart about it. And there's times where it's okay to be a little bit aggressive on first, maybe take a you know, half an inch early lead, whatever it may be, but not in that situation. You just don't need to. You know, and even if you leave on time and the catcher does throw down to second and you're maybe hosed because you don't have speed like Sam Rouse, get yourself in a rundown, and then all of a sudden you've got a pickle situation and you could score a cheap run. And those are just as important when you're facing a tough pitcher like Williams, too.
Up the third base line. Lagaleo lets it go foul as McCubbin is looking for her first 1-2-3 inning. She had long innings in the first and the third and faced just 4 batters in the second.
And McCubbin's had some bright spots in this game. She's had some really easy outs for her defense to make behind her. She's got some good spin on her pitches. There's been a lot of Northwestern hitters that just haven't been on time against her, and that's a credit to her, what she's doing.
Much easier play in foul ground in a 1-2-3 frame. Kate Drohan, the head coach of Northwestern, her team on top 2-0 here in the bottom of the 4th inning. We're going to talk about today's game, but we do need to know, with the win yesterday against UCLA, the walk-off home run, what was the atmosphere like with your team after that win?
It was great. You know, just our ability to come back and then come through in extras like that. And it was such a great, complete team win. It was a good moment for our program.
And it was a true pitcher's duel. And speaking of those pitchers, you got Danielle Williams in the circle for you guys again today. What have you seen from her in the last couple of years? You talk about her growth and maturity. How have you seen her get better over time?
Well, she works really hard to practice every day. You know, she never takes a day off, and she's so good to her teammates. So I think that's really showing us now how steady she is and consistent she's been so far at the start of the season.
Kate, thanks.
Thank you. Go Cats.
Not only steady, but a lot of the time she works with a smile too. It's a close game, 2-0. And the last trip to the plate for the Tigers ended with Sam Russ leaving first early. They had runners at first and third for Cagle. So she leads off here after she was left in the batter's box to end the third. Danielle Williams just made something very difficult look very easy in 3 pitches.
That was called going after the batter. And you know what was really cool about that at bat? We mentioned it earlier. Danielle Williams threw 2 changeups in a row to Valerie Kegel in the first at bat. In the second at bat, threw all hard pitches, ran the curveball away from her lefty-lefty matchup. Such a tough pitch to hit. And again, that pitch looks like a strike because Kegel's swinging at it. And when it finishes its movement, it's almost in the other batter's box. That's how much spin and deception she's putting on that pitch. And another credit to Danielle Williams. We just mentioned the UCLA game, talking with Coach. She pitched a complete 8 innings last night. Wakes up this morning, has got to face another top 25 opponent in Clemson. And she looks fresh, she looks sharp. Doesn't look tired, doesn't look fatigued. Stuff's got movement, it's got juice on it. And she's not a big time velocity pitcher, so that helps. But at the same time, the fact that she's been as consistent as she is and hitting her spots shows her endurance and her physical conditioning and shape, all working really well for her.
And it was funny, as we got Coach Strohan on the headset during our commercial break between innings, we said good morning to each other, only to realize it's on Eastern time, already past noon, which is the fun part of this weekend. You can just get lost in it all, soaking it up, and all of a sudden you don't realize you spent your whole day watching softball.
Yeah, you wake up, softball's on TV, you go to bed. Softball replays were on TV when I went to sleep last night. Can't get enough.
Were you watching tape of your own work yesterday? Taking notes?
Not purposely.
7th strikeout now for Williams.
Number 12.
Yeah, I love the location of this changeup. You can see her release point, just lets that ball float in. But on the outside corner, it's a really tough pitch.
Things are cranking on all fields right now. Tennessee's up 2-0 over UCF. LSU and Notre Dame might well come down to the wire. LSU up 6-5. And after we saw Auburn yesterday, I have to say, a little surprised by the fact that in the 6th inning, they're down 9-0 against UCLA.
Ooh. UCLA probably not happy after the loss yesterday. That can happen. Yeah, Holly Azevedo is pitching for UCLA. Last time I checked, she had 9 strikeouts against the tough Auburn offense.
If she went the distance, struck out 10. On the ground, a second, and Nito takes care of business. So 1, 2, 3, 4th for Danielle Williams. Nothing getting in her way this afternoon. Welcome back. It's the 2022 St. Pete Clearwater Elite Invitational presented by Wilson. 2-0 between Northwestern and Clemson. And the game where offense has been unstoppable is between Notre Dame and LSU. Home runs left and right. And the latest contributor, Peyton Tidd. Just like Valerie Kegel, she's a two-way player as well. Gets it done in the circle and at the plate. And the solo shot makes a 6-5 game, even at 6 in the 5th inning.
They're making it rain over on that field. Home runs left and right.
Abby Sweet also with a home run for the Fighting Irish. Tid is getting the start in the circle today as well. So it might just be last at bat in that game. One and one to Rachel Lewis, center fielder, 1 for 2. So she made the move from second to center field this year, trying something new. Good to the team. Thanksgiving of 2020, she goes out to Park City, Utah, part of the USA bobsled team. And given where we were in the world at that time, pre-vaccine, she had to go through a virtual combine and then wait and see if she'd get invited to do it. So to bring it all full circle for her positional move this year, she said, doing that, it's kind of an ego check to go out and try a new sport, but it's practice and repetition like anything else. It's been a tough day for hops on the infield for the Tigers infielders. Lewis is aboard for the second time as that one skips through the left side. We've got more ACC softball later today here in Clearwater. After we're done, 1 Eastern, that's right around the corner. Michigan and Florida State, a top 20 matchup, 1 Eastern. You're on the ACC network and the ESPN app.
Yeah, we've seen some interesting hops here on the field today. The ground's hard. And when a pitcher has the spin, like a Danielle Williams, like a McCubbin, something hits off the bat funny, it might jump up on you as an infielder, and you got to do whatever you can to stay aggressive, to go get the ball and make the play. Easier said than done, but it's a tough job out there, but somebody's got to do it, and these players signed up for it.
Cats with the leadoff hitter on for the 3rd time in 5 frames. Strike at the knees on Rudd. Lewis was off on that pitch. Fouled off the left-hand side. The speedster 6 of 7 in stolen bases this year. Northwestern tries to get to 7-1. Here in Clearwater, wins over Texas Tech, UCLA. They only lost by a single run last Friday against Virginia Tech. You saw the Hokies in a tight battle with Alabama, and they'll see them again later on today. It was a 1-0 final score in favor of the Tide. 2-2 over to third. Lagaleo across the diamond. Her throw is just in time to get Rudd for the first out. Lewis up to second.
It was a smart play by Lagaleo not to try and go to the speed of Rachel Lewis. And you mentioned it, Mike, that battle between Keely Rochard and Montana Fouts was great the other night. As you see this fielded ball, yep, doesn't have it cleanly, no choice, go to first base, cut your losses. Didn't get the main out, but at least get one. Yeah, really looking forward to seeing another battle between Virginia Tech and Bama today. Fouts and Rochard combined for 22 strikeouts on the day. They each had 11. That is not a great day to be a hitter. And they went toe-to-toe for 7 innings. Yeah, exactly.
They're going today in Tuscaloosa at 2:30 Eastern time.
And I look at that matchup. That could be like a preview of a super regional type matchup. I mean, this matchup could be a super regional matchup too. I mean, that's what's really cool about preseason softball is we could see these teams play each other down the road in the Women's College World Series in a regional, super regional. And that's why these teams choose to play tough competition early, is they're trying to get their teams prepared for winning a 3-game series, because that's really what it comes down to. In conference play, in regionals and super regionals, you got to win a 3-game series to advance.
Nelson gets under the 2-1 from McCubbin, and May deposits that into the glove for the second out as Lewis still waits at second base. I look at this weekend and the play that you get here. Let's take a big picture look and think about college football or college basketball. You know, the football season at the beginning of the year, you get some real cupcake games. This is a whole weekend of awesome competition. Basketball, a few here and there, but this is right out of the gates. Boom. Where you at? What do you got?
And what an opportunity for these teams to kind of gauge where you are.
Out to center field. Clark on the run. That ball goes yard. Angela Zedak with her second home run of the young season. Northwestern goes from 2 up to 4 zip here in the 5th.
But we haven't seen McCubbin make a lot of mistakes today, but that one right there was a mistake. Left a ball over the heart of the plate. And Angela Zedak is able to capitalize. Gets her hips into this, drives this one deep center. That one was hit on the line. Tons of backspin. Barely hops over. I thought for a second that Clark may be able to make a play out in center field, but that one just had too much spin and speed on it.
The Wildcats dugout has a charge into it now with a 4-0 lead. As we get into the later moments of this game, where the Clemson offense is going to have to try and break through against Danielle Williams, which so far has proved a very difficult task. There's 2 hits thus far through 4 trips to the plate for the Tigers. Slow roller, second base. Pereira with the underhand, and the inning is over, but Angela Zedak makes an impact with a 2-run home run to straightaway center. 4-0 Northwestern.
Well, Danielle Williams has done everything right in this ballgame. She's shown all the movement, all the speed change, the changeup, the curveball on the outside, making these Clemson hitters really struggle at the plate. A lot of swing and misses, and she is leading her team, putting a big goose egg up on the board in the game so far today.
It's time for our game track, brought to you by Wilson. Williams with the 7 strikeouts, and Angela Zedak with a 2-run home run, providing a little bit of a cushion for the Wildcats. Not that they hadn't threatened earlier. They loaded the bases, stranded them full in the first, pushed across 2 with only 1 base hit out of the infield in the 3rd. Now the advantage 4-0 against the Tigers. See if they can answer their head coach's call to get offense in the works. After a 1-2-3-4th, and just 1 base runner, rather 2 base runners over the last 3 innings, both of those in the 3rd. Starts with a strike to Madison May. May off to the right side and into the glove of Nito at second.
That might right there be the best swing that we've seen out of a Clemson hitter today. Just happens to hit it right at somebody. Little line out. Easy catch for out number 1. You know, the other thing that's made Danielle Williams really successful today is her first pitch strikes. 11 first pitch strikes thrown today to 16 batters faced. That's a mature approach. It's understanding that if you get ahead and you can get a batter behind in the count, then she can use all of her pitches that are setup pitches. She can make sure that she has everything in her arsenal to be able to attack that batter. She can work the ladder, throw it a little bit further outside, a little bit more up to make them chase just like that.
And just like that, she's got her 8th strikeout.
Yeah, I think
she's grouped them in
was,
bunches.
Yeah, I think she was a little confused, thought that might have been a foul tip. But I think that was just a big-time swing and a miss right there.
It's almost like she's playing puppeteer a little bit, getting everybody to do what she wants, chase her pitches. She struck out 3 of the last 5. She had a span from the first to the 3rd inning where she struck out 5 out of 6.
Yeah, and you know, this Clemson team, I just don't feel like they've had a successful plan because there's so many of them that are still swinging so far out in front of the changeup. And I understand that it's deceptive and that's what makes it hard to hit. But at the same time, if you go up there and you're looking for that pitch and you swing at it, you should be a little bit more on time. They have just been so early.
Nito got it. Another 1, 2, 3 innings. 6 in a row retired by Williams. Prime time tomorrow night, ESPN, UCLA and Florida State, the Pac-12 and the ACC. It'll be a good one, and we know we'll be watching along with you. Part of the fun this year is the Vitacost.com hospitality zone. Now, we're lunchtime adjacent, right, for most of the time zones in the United States. In the hospitality zone, unlimited Italian sausages, Philly chicken and steak sandwiches, salads, grilled mixed veggies, and an assortment of desserts. Never have I been so excited to hear the word assortment as it precedes dessert.
It's a big-time improvement from the previous St. Pete Clearwater Elite Invitational presented by Wilson. You know, the fan experience has improved, and I think after the first year of this tournament and it's selling out and just packing this place full of softball fans, they've made some fantastic adjustments to make this like the best place you can go watch a softball game preseason. It's so funny because when I walked around this tournament the first time, it almost felt like going back to summer ball. So those travel ball tournaments.
She's got the base hit, but no, make that comparison because that's interesting.
Yeah, no, you know, you grow up going to travel ball tournaments, you look to your left and to your right, and you're walking up to the field, and you just see games going on all around you, and you kind of lose that in college a little bit because you play at single stadium fields most of the time, and so this kind of brings you back to your roots of playing, you know, multiple games a day, seeing every game around you, just feeling the excitement, hearing it on the different fields, and feeding off of that energy. So you have that nostalgia combined with this big-time TV presence. It is a really unique tournament, and that's what makes it so great and fun.
Like, have bag, will travel, right? Wherever the game is, you let us know we're there. Supley with just the 3rd base hit. Rather, I should say, the 7th base hit, and she's pinch run for there by Ayanna Lindsay over at first. as McCubbin gets the first out here on the top of the 6th. Northwestern with the 4-0 lead. It looks like perhaps another lineup change imminent for the Wildcats.
29-22. Northwestern substitution at the plate, number 29.
So it'll be Kendall Peterson pinch hitting for Grace Nito in the number 9 spot. Good spot to jump in here with a runner on. Try and tack onto this lead. For Peterson, who made just 5 appearances off the bench on what was a regional round team last year. And already a couple of base hits on her ledger on the young season. Make it another. Ready for the opportunity to step in the bottom of the lineup as a pinch hitter. And 2 hits in the inning for Northwestern.
It's a really nice job by Peterson. Just understanding situationally to pass the bat down, to turn the lineup over so you can get the leadoff hitter back up to the plate for Northwestern. Shortstop Maddie Moore shifted way up the middle to cover for the steal. So that left a wide open 5-6 hole and just a little nice easy ground ball through it.
Now batting for the Wildcats, number 8, Skylar Schellmeyer.
You can see the defensive shift right there. Sometimes allows for something that wouldn't have otherwise been a base hit. Gets to be a single.
Lineup turns over for Schellmeyer. 1 for 3. She singled to start things off and has been retired in her last 2 trips. Not always the leadoff hitter on this club, but since she's moved there, she's been impactful. That's through the wickets on Russ in left field. Lindsay comes in to score. Peterson waved around at third. Schellmeyer stumbled around the third base bag, but tack on 2 more runs for Northwestern. It's 6-0 in the 6th.
That's a 2-run triple for number 8, Skylar Schellmeyer.
It's a beautiful power slap by Schellmeyer. Takes something on the outside corner, pops it into left field. Big time mistake here by Sam Russ, who lets this one just go right through her legs. And you can see as soon as the mistake happens in left, Schellmeyer wheels are turning on, and she's gonna push it to try and catch up to the runner in front of her. Look at her, she almost makes it as she stops at third. Tons of speed right there.
Her message through her base running to Peterson was, you're scoring or you're getting thrown out at home because I'm coming to third.
Yeah, you gotta love that. No hesitation, just putting the pressure on Peterson in front of her.
Well, a tough ball for Russ in left field. Northwestern, here in the later innings, has built upon their lead. Lewis takes a healthy hack at that. Sends it foul off the fence, 0-2.
Yeah, that's always a tough play, the low line drives in the outfield. And just being able to read them off the bat. And clearly she read it a little bit wrong because it just kind of hopped and got to her. And I think she thought it was going to be more of a line drag to her. She didn't get her body down in time to be able to field it cleanly in front of her. And I can tell you right now, those are some of the hardest ones to judge because you just really can't see a trajectory on them. Can't tell how hard they're hit. But that's something that you learn in the outfield. You get more reps as the season goes on, and you hope down the stretch in conference play and in the postseason that you don't make those mistakes because you've seen that ball, 10, 15 times throughout the season.
It was a close take for Lewis, so 1-2 is in the dirt. We talked earlier about Schellmeyer and her ability to make things exciting. How about her going into third base? She goes a little bit over the bag, and swims her way back in at the end. She's like, all right, I made it. I'm safe. Woo!
It's so hard to like pump the brakes. You're like rounding third. I'm going. Pump the brakes, get back.
The adrenaline's flowing. And things continue to come up purple. 7-0.
This is a situation for Clemson where they've got to take a timeout here and kind of settle in because errors are compounding on them. And they really got to give their freshman pitcher a better chance because she's pitched well enough.
It doesn't go McCubbin's way, and a pitching change on the way. It was over 100 pitches through 5 1/3 for Brooke McCubbin. So a tough day for her against a high caliber lineup in Northwestern. 7-0 as she departs and turns it over to Regan Spencer.
Yeah, you know, for the freshman facing a top 25 opponent, I thought she had some really bright spots, and unfortunately her defense couldn't help her out behind her, and the Northwestern team started to get the better of her as they've seen her now multiple times through the lineup. So Spencer's going to have a tough challenge. She's got to come in and try and keep this offense at bay and try and keep the score the same because Northwestern's in a position now where they can cut this game short if they score one more run. And Spencer's really going to rely on the down spin today. She's a draw ball pitcher. She's got a little bit of a changeup. But according to her coaching staff, the thing that sets her apart is she hits her spots really, really well. So she's going to be able to really pound the corners of the strike zone.
This is the portion of the lineup. Rudd, the number 3 hitter, who's driven in a team-high 10 coming into this game, where it can take just one swing of the bat to all of a sudden make it an 8 or a 9-run game. Well, as Northwestern continues to up the ante here in this game, we've looked in multiple times with Notre Dame and LSU, and Peyton Tidd with a home run as she's also working in the circle today. And that game is even at 6 in the top of the 7th. A nail-biter between the Irish and the Tigers.
Yeah, what a good game over on that field. A lot of home run balls. LSU has kind of been a hot and cold team this season. You know, they beat Oklahoma State yesterday, but then got dominated by Washington. Here they are in a battle with Notre Dame. They played a really tough schedule so far, but they've also had a couple bad losses, so them just trying to figure it out.
Sammy Stanley pinch running first base for Rudd, who drew the walk. So some defensive mistakes prolonging this inning for Clemson. With the ball that got by Russ out in left field. Lewis at second now, having reached on the error. First and second. With 3 runs already home, they've scored 5 of their 7 in the last 2 frames. One-two to Nelson. Nice snare in the circle. They go to third and get 1. Nelson too quick up the line, but it wipes the speedy Lewis off the base paths and gets Clemson and out closer to coming to the plate.
It's a good heads-up play right there just to get the lead out. And they almost were able to turn 2. Hot shot right back at Spencer. Gets her feet lined up to third. And a good effort to throw it across the diamond, but I don't think you're going to get many players out in that situation. Just too hard of a play, too far of a throw.
Angela Zedak, a 2-run home run over the fence in center field last inning. 2 teammates on here. She's the 8th batter of the inning to come to the plate. This is low, 2-2.
I like the location that we're seeing Spencer throw. She's trying to pound both sides of the plate, hitting the lower corners of the zone with that drop ball. Trying to work it easy out for her defense, who's got an opportunity to turn things around and get them out of the inning.
Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to return all foul balls to a 3-score member with the green shirt. Thank you.
Two runners on, 2 strikes, 2 outs. And that's strike number 3 left on the corner for Zedak. Now we know this bird is out over the Gulf, this seagull, because if it was on the bay, it'd be a bagel.
St. Pete Clearwater Elite Invitational, presented by Wilson, is brought to you by Visit St. Pete Clearwater, Florida, and Wilson Fast Pitch, leaders in softball innovation.
Mike Cousins and Kayla Bro back with you. We saw Kelly Maxwell almost authored a no-hitter yesterday against Michigan. Northwestern with a walk-off against UCLA. Clemson staying perfect. Auburn running into UCLA today, threatening their unbeaten mark. And Washington pounded out 20 runs yesterday. A big portion of that coming from the top of their lineup. And the Huskies are in action on ESPN Plus in just a couple of hours as they take on Texas Tech. And then 6 Eastern for the Huskies, also on ESPN Plus, against the Cowgirls of Oklahoma State.
I think that night game, Oklahoma State and Washington, could be a really good test for both of those teams, especially if the Huskies see Kelly Maxwell, who, like you said, threw a 1-hitter, looked so good against Michigan, really shut them down. You know, she's a similar pitcher to somebody like a Danielle Williams, which just has really good stuff. Quality movement, can throw it to all quadrants, and has a really, really strong off speed.
Moore with a flare into shallow center in front of Lewis for a base hit. The first hit for Clemson since the 3rd inning.
Yeah, Clemson couldn't ask for a better time for that to come through. A little base runner on as they turn the lineup over, and Mackenzie Clark is going to come back up to the plate. And this is a little miss hit, but what Maddie Moore does really well, she gets her barrel on the inside of this pitch and is able to flare it into center field. Doesn't get caught up or too jammed on the inside corner to get an out. Just jammed enough to get a base hit.
Throw behind at first base. She's back in safely after the throw. And that's the first Clemson leadoff hitter to reach base today. Here we are in the 6th, an indication of how dominant Danielle Williams has been.
Yeah, and that's a really, really good stat right there. That's their first leadoff hitter. That means she's gone right after the first batter of every inning. I'll tell you right now, you're a lot less likely to score when you get the leadoff player out in the inning.
It drifts into foul territory. Zedek squeezes the first out, getting Clark.
At the plate for the Tigers, number 3, Sam Russ.
Sam Russ involved in a couple of crucial moments in this game for Clemson. Go back to the third at what that time was just a 2-0 Northwestern lead. Valerie Cagle at the plate, 2 outs. They had runners at first and third. She got called for leaving early, which ended up being the third out of the inning. Looking to square. Now down 0-2 is a measure of Williams' efficiency in the circle today. Just her 81st pitch. The rate she's going could very well author a complete game under 100 pitches.
No, you're right. The Sam Russ leaving early was one of the pivotal points in this ball game because it was 2-0 Northwestern. Clemson had Valerie Cagle coming up to the plate. There was 2 outs, runners on first and third, and she left early, and that just shifted the momentum. Anything that Clemson had going for them has just kind of sucked away at that point.
And she's down on just 3 pitches. The action continues to be elevated with Notre Dame and LSU. As Notre Dame top 7 gets some action going. Miranda Johnson at the plate. They take advantage of an error in the field. Biggio and Hanks come in to score, and that lead is now 8-6. The game in the bottom of the 7th inning. LSU trying to either walk it off or force extras. Talk about a thriller. That game was 5-3 LSU after the first inning. And it'll come right down to the last at-bats for the Tigers and the Irish.
We got a lot of back and forth. But it's going to come down and sometimes in those games to who doesn't make a mistake. And you can see right there, LSU made a big-time mistake. Looked a little familiar, something we saw here in our game today.
In the ACC, Notre Dame is going to be one of those teams that's a contender right there with Clemson, with Duke, and with Virginia Tech. Last year, the Fighting Irish, a postseason team as well. They went down to Lexington. Picked up wins against Kentucky, Miami, Ohio, and then got bounced in back-to-back games against the #1 seed there, Kentucky. 7-0, 4-0. Here's a 2-2.
That's a great take right there by Cagle. Cagle having a much better at-bat than she did in her last at-bat. She's taking that curveball in the outside corner. And I like that Danielle Williams went back inside hard, try and get her to be baited on that inside pitch at the hands, but she's disciplined.
Will there be enough room in foul ground? A reach at the fence. Proves elusive for Zedek. Cagle has one of the 3 Clemson hits, an infield single, but she's aboard for the 2nd time in 3 plate appearances. 2-out walk. When will they get on the board here in the last of the 6th? Only the second walk from Williams, the other one coming in the third. So runners have been few and far between to go along with her 9 strikeouts. Strike 1 on Gumbarda. Over to third. The easiest out is the closest one for Katie, and the inning is over. Another strikeout for Williams. She's got 20 here in Clearwater. We go to the 7th.
And on the 10th try, the Florida State Seminoles have won their first national championship.
The Seminoles, the first and only team out of the ACC to win it all in Oklahoma City, and they're back in action. 1 o'clock Eastern. Hey, get ready. Multi-screen experience. We have warned you before. You got to be ready at all angles. Streaming live on the ESPN app as they take on Michigan to start their day here in Clearwater. Blue skies, surf, sand, softball. She is Kayla Bro, the All-American at Alabama. I'm Mike Cousins. And it started out slow, but momentum has turned the Wildcats' way as we go to the 7th, and they work with a 7-0 lead.
Yeah, really impressed with Northwestern's ability to come out and take care of business today, especially after that win last night against UCLA. You can sometimes let that emotion get the best of you, and then you sleep on a team like Clemson on day 2. But not the Wildcats. They came out ready to go, and give a ton of credit to Danielle Williams, who pitched in back-to-back games to get them to the point where they're going to potentially go back-to-back top 25 wins and top 25 upsets.
One hop and one out. Well, just a minute from now, Michigan, Florida State will begin on the ACC Network Extra, available through the ESPN app for you. And after the conclusion of this game, when Clemson gets its last licks in the bottom of the 7th inning, that game will switch over to the ACC Network.
Yeah, don't change the station, because Florida State is a team to watch. They have been electric. They've been fun. They play a really complete softball where they have power, but they also hit for average. They run the bases extremely well, play good defense. I think somebody to watch on that team is Kaylee Mudge. She's just a dynamic, really aggressive hitter at the plate. She made a name for herself at the World Series. She owns the record for the number of hits at the World Series with 14, which is a ton.
Doing it against the top level pitching in the country once you're down to that point of the season. Ayanna Lindsay, who came on as a pinch runner last inning for Sydney Supley, gets her first at bat here in this game. It's another high-scoring game for Northwestern. As in Clearwater, they've scored 9 in a win against Texas Tech, and yesterday 6 in extras to beat UCLA on that walk-off home run from Maeve Nelson. Strike 3 on the corner, and there are quickly 2 away, retired by Spencer here in the top of the 7th.
Back to the Wildcats, number 26, Sydney Supley.
Well, unfortunately, the public address announcer is mistaken. It's Hannah Katie at the plate. So one more game in Clearwater for Northwestern, as they are clear the rest of the day today. They see Oklahoma State tomorrow at 9:30 Eastern. And then we haven't even really gotten to this. Talk about challenging yourself at the beginning of the season. They're going to the Mary Nutter Classic. They're going to see Oregon. They're going to see Washington. They're going to see Texas Tech. Cal State Fullerton, San Diego State in the mix in there as well. Really ramping up the pre-conference schedule after playing only Big Ten teams last year during the regular season. Strike three, and the inning is over.
Well, today it has been all smooth sailing for the Northwestern Wildcats. Last chance for the Tigers. Players up. This is the opportunity to see what pieces of the puzzle fit where for your team, for your roster and your lineup. And, you know, Coach Murphy from Alabama always put it in a really clear picture for me. He said, you know, this is preseason is the time where you secure your lineup for conference play. So you know that the 9 that are going to go out there pretty much the majority of that season. And conference play is to solidify your spot for the postseason. And by the time the postseason rolls around, it's pretty much locked in who's going to be on the field when it matters most.
It's kind of like you're getting the tracking set on your VCR. You said a clear picture. That was the first image that popped into mind for me. Eliminate the graininess of the image and really set your focus on what you're seeing.
Yeah, and you know, the preseason is the time to kind of play with your lineup because somebody might show you something. Hey, this is a reason why they should be in the 3-hole because they have this skill set, because they have low strikeout numbers, high RBI numbers, whatever it may be. You know, who protects what hitter well? If I put, you know, this player behind our power hitter, you know, the power hitter's going to see more strikes because they have to worry about hitter for average behind her. You know, it's an interesting little chess match and something that coaches go through, but it's part of the development of the season, and it's why the preseason is important and why playing quality competition is important. You know, as we see Danielle Williams, just this is a pitch where just blowing it by her competition. No chance right there. And she's really dominated the bottom half of this Clemson lineup. We've seen some stuff out of the top half, couple of walks, couple base hits here and there from the top, but the bottom has really struggled facing Williams.
Clemson go to the bench a little bit here. That was Bailey Taylor, who began her career at Troy. And now Grace Mattimore. She came in for the start of the program after beginning her career at Army. So Danielle Williams looking to go 2-0 here in St. Pete with another game yet to come tomorrow for the Wildcats. Add in a save as well, so she's been a part of all 3 of their wins and now up to 10 strikeouts. The way she started the inning, did she make it 11? Not yet.
That changeup again. Little check swing right here. It's close, but I don't think her barrel crosses the plane. I think that's a good call.
That took her one more pitch to get what she was looking for. 11th strikeout now for Williams.
Back for Clemson, substitution number 58, Kaya Keller.
And one more pinch hitter in the last of the 7th, Kaya Keller. Williams hoping will be her last opponent here today. And it takes just one pitch. A 1-2-3 7th, 11 strikeouts in a complete game victory for Danielle Williams. Northwestern had just 2 runs over the first 4. They pour it on in the last couple of frames. Stay tuned here on ACC Network. Up next, as we take you from one field to the next, Michigan, Florida State on the way next.
Final score.